So this is going to be a very quick off-the-cuff little video here, but the tech influencer sphere is losing their marbles right now because they're saying the iPhone 15 and 15 Pro and 15 Pro Max are such horrible phones because they overheat, they're not durable, so on and so forth. And people are just running away with this and saying, well, yeah, they're terrible phones, and just repeating what the few have said, like Jerry Rig Everything, for example. He made a video trying to do the bend test, and while the phone did not catastrophically break nor bend, the back glass did break on him. And people have been just running away with this and saying, bad phone, do not buy, blah, blah, blah. And I kind of started feeling that twinge of regret and such like that. But I'm making this video as kind of both to myself and to other people who have bought iPhone 15s and are perfectly happy with them, and kind of as a way to say don't regret your purchase if you're happy with it and it's running perfectly fine, but also if you're having problems with it, like dust under the camera lens, which is a problem not unique to the iPhone 15, and I don't know why people are reporting it as such, because that happened on the 13 Pro launch as well. But if you're having that problem, go to Apple. You have a 14-day return policy. Make them pay for it, because you deserve so much better than to suffer with a phone like that. But I digress. It's not the point of this video. The point of this video is that people are like, oh my god, the phone is overheating if I do so much as play Resident Evil 4 on it or something like that. And to that I say, really? This SoC in the iPhone 15 is like really, really good. And by good, I mean it's powerful. I benchmarked it next to my MacBook Pro, which has active cooling, and this thing beats it in single-core performance. Like, it's crazy. And multi-core, it's right up on it. So this CPU is powerful, and it's in a phone. So if you load it down with things like setting your phone up, or if you load it down with, backing up a bunch of Google Photos, as one of the reports had said, that's CPU intensive work. It's going to get hot. Apple cannot cheat thermodynamics. Every other phone has done that. My iPhone 13 Pro did as well. It's really weird that people are just latching onto this and saying, phone bad. Even people who don't actually own them, they're just repeating what they've heard and saying, you might not want to buy an iPhone 15. But that said, I come from the old age of cell phones when things used to be really bad. I don't want to sound like a techno boomer here, but I've got two somber little reminders that sit on my desk and stare at me and tell me that, hey, everything is okay, because at least we are not suffering through that era again. The least bad of those phones is the iPhone 6, which is going to be out of frame because I'm using a MagSafe stand to record this. But yeah, iPhone 6, because we don't have the S back here. And this thing will absolutely bend if I try to bend it. I've had one of these. I dropped it. It bent the case, because I didn't have an external case on it to protect it. My fault. But as we can see here, yeah, this is my Droid Cam setup, or one of my Droid Cams that I use instead of having a webcam. And this phone is awful. It was a pivotal moment for the iPhone, but from a durability perspective, it was not that good. So, durability problems, like the iPhone 15 is still durable. Because, I mean, look at this. And Android phones have failed the bend test pretty catastrophically too. The Nexus 6P, for a good example. So that's an example of things that could be much worse. But we can go deeper than that. Who remembers the Snapdragon 810 era of phones? Now, I don't have an example of it here. I would like to maybe get one someday. But way back, I swear people overblew the 810 as well, because I had a Galaxy S4 and an HTC One M7. Both phones overheated really badly. Like, I would do anything on them, and they would get super hot if I were to charge them and do anything on them. Super hot. And the 810 phones that I've had, well, one phone, which is the Nexus 6P, didn't get all that hot, despite putting it on a charger and playing some augmented reality games on them, which use all the sensors all at once. So, worst case scenario for that phone. It didn't get as hot as they were saying that the 810 would get, but I digress. I have a phone from that era, and it is this cursed little thing. The phone that started the downfall of LG in my book, the Boot Loop Express LG G4, as you can see right there. The Verizon insignia with the G4. And despite appearances and such, it still works. I'm going to put in my pattern because it is using my actual pattern. But as you can see, it does in fact work. I got the appropriate background. But this phone I had when it was relevant. And not this particular one, but I had this phone when it was relevant. And I remember it being just a mildly warm day, about 75 degrees outside, and the phone wouldn't charge because it was overheating. Yeah. I had it in the kitchen, out of my room, because my room is the warmest room in the house, because back then I didn't have an air conditioner in here, and it wouldn't charge at all because it was overheating. And I looked at the battery stats and it said status overheating, so it wouldn't charge the battery. That was just it sitting idle, doing nothing on a slow charger. So when people tell me that the iPhone 15 is like the worst, or when these tech influencers try to tell me, oh, it's overheating so bad, it's so terrible, blah, 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 I can only help but think, have you guys used a phone like from the bad days when this was like far worse, when like the HTC One M7 would get close to burning you with how hot it ran? Like, really? This is not bad, and I'm not trying to invalidate the people who are actually having problems here, because I feel like there is a legitimate problem, but it's being made to be worse than it actually is, and people are being made to feel guilty about their purchase because of that. So the people who are legitimately having problems, I hope they get their resolution, and I hope that Apple does right by them. I hope that it is all software, because that's what it seems to be, and that an iOS 17 update will release soon enough to address those concerns. But to the people who are saying that their phones are overheating because, oh, I'm getting through setup, which is a CPU-intensive task, or I'm backing up 6,000 photos to Google Photos, or 3,000, or whatever, that's a CPU-intensive task. Or if I'm playing a video game like Resident Evil 4 on my phone, that is a CPU and GPU-intensive task. That's going to cause your phone to get hot. My 13 Pro did the very same thing. So the people who are taking that and running with it and calling this phone defective, please stop. Like, please. Any phone is going to get warm doing that. Come on. But to the people who are just having random overheating issues and such like that, please get in contact with Apple, because that's what you should be doing, and not like wallowing in regret. Like, go contact Apple. If they can't fix it in a timely fashion, go ahead and return your phone. You have every right to do so. Anyway, I'm starting to run in circles here, but that's really the point of this whole thing. So, till next time, hopefully you don't mind the rough cut nature of this. I'll see you guys later.